California. Bam! This state had it all, people. The glitz, the glamour, the awesome weather. It was easy to see why so many people flocked here for the last 100 years. I mean, look at the place. It really is probably the prettiest of all states, with the coasts and the mountains and the deserts. And the economy here has been booming too. You know, with the tech boom in the Bay Area, the agriculture in the Central Valley, and all that is Southern California, with more tech, banking, arts and entertainment, transportation, and of course, tourism. The healthcare system here is pretty good. A lot of people make a lot of money, and the weather here is darn great. It's the most populous state and can be considered the world's 5th biggest economy. So what's the problem? A lot is the problem. Today's California is not the same California from before. We'll hear it from the people who live there eventually, but you don't have to ask people from California why it's become such a lousy place to live. Just look at what's happening there. And that's what this video is about, how the California dream has become the California nightmare. Tons of people are leaving California, and we're going to talk about why. I left California myself 11 years ago, and every time I go back, I'm reminded as to why I left California for good. Let's take a look at why the California dream is dead. Sit in traffic, pay a lot for your house, enjoy the warm weather, try not to get crushed. Ah, California. Huh, would you look at this? Now, this isn't a third world country, somewhere like Haiti or India or the Philippines. No, this is downtown Los Angeles, and just blocks from downtown proper, where lots of wealthy and successful people live. In Los Angeles and other major cities in California, this has become a common sight, people. It's estimated there's 50,000 homeless people in Los Angeles, but nobody really knows. One thing's for sure, it's in the top 5 in the world for number of people without a home. Now you might say, why are there so many homeless people in California? Well, some of it has to do with the nice weather, but most of it is really because they're catered to. There's drugs everywhere, you get free stuff, nobody kicks you out, and they'll even give you free medical care and food. Why wouldn't you come to California if this is how you wanted to live your life, right? Now, the homeless problem is just one example as to why the California dream has ended, but it's emblematic of the issues with the whole state in general, and most of it has to do with politics. All the tents and graffiti and trash, it's like this up and down the coast in California. Sure, sometimes people choose to live this way because they don't want to work and they want independence. But many of the homeless just can't afford to house themselves anymore here. California has always embraced diversity and it's promised economic opportunity, but it seems those doors have shut. What's he doing? He's clearly on drugs. He's eating out of that dumpster. Listen. You can hear the propane tanks running in all these tents. They're cooking in there. There's literally ovens running in all these tents all over downtown LA. They have ovens in there. It's crazy. California's middle and lower classes are kind of screwed. It's really expensive to live here, even for the college-educated crowd. You know what the average cost for a home in California is? 592,000 smackers. So these days, both mom and dad have to work to be able to afford their mortgage. So they both need a car, and they need childcare, and they both have to sit in traffic for hours and hours a week. The high taxes and high gas prices and the cost to own a home are so high now that people can't take a moment to breathe and take in California's natural beauty. At least the parts where it's not trashed. Good luck moving here and affording a decent house in a decent neighborhood anymore, pal. In LA alone, only 1/3 of homes are owner-occupied, so 2 in 3 houses are rented. And California's liberal environmental laws block new housing construction, so there's not enough affordable housing being built either. California also has the highest marginal tax rate in the nation. Where's all that money going? Certainly not to pay firefighters and teachers well enough to make them happy. Oh, I mean, there's plenty of rich people here. Many are clustered in LA and San Francisco and in other areas along the coast. But this state definitely has become one of the haves and have-nots. California's middle and lower classes have been squeezed out. Now let's talk about the lower class here. California's welfare system has created generational poverty, and that only creates more dependence. Why work hard? We can just skimp off the system, right? If you can't afford something, you can just steal it. That's right. In California, anything under $950 is considered a minor offense. It's not a felony. You don't go to jail. You don't even get in trouble. So you have all these criminals walking in stores and just grabbing whatever they want and waltzing out without anybody doing anything about it. Well, as you can imagine, stores are closing permanently. They can't afford to stay open because Californians are literally robbing them blind.
Well, there's one, yeah, there's like a CVS right by me, and when I was talking to one of the workers in there, they're saying it's like a daily occurrence.
No
People
way.
come in, yes, people come in and they, you know, grab what they want and they can just dash out and they can't do anything about it. That's what they're telling me, that their hands are tied, they're not able to do anything about it. So, since they can't, then, a lot of these stores are like, we can't keep doing this, or they're stealing our merchandise, and they end up just closing their stores down.
California's middle and lower classes also suffer at the school level. California schools used to be the envy of the nation, but now, statewide, schools here are ranked 38th in the country. One reason is overcrowding. California's laws make it tough to build affordable housing. So what happens is the schools in the poor and middle class areas struggle. They're underfunded, teachers are fed up, a lot of the kids misbehave, and in a lot of schools you can't even reach the parents, much less get their help. A lot of schools in California don't have a nurse or a counselor, but they have police officers on campus. And then these kids leave the California schools having passed, but remain far behind, and that's even if they can afford to go to college here. Now, if you live in California, there's a 100% chance you know somebody who left the state for good, and probably because of the things I'm talking about in this video. For the first time in more than 100 years, this state saw a population decline. Over the last decade, 6 million people left California, while only 5 million people moved in. That's a loss of more than 2% of this state's total population in 10 years. And a recent poll showed more than half the state's population is considering leaving the state for good. What the hell?